You guys are doing well. I know it's a little weird right now that we're not in school. Hopefully, it's just for today. Um, I hope you all had a great Labor Day weekend. I'm excited to hear all about it when we return. Right now, I just want to go through this important information. There's no homework today. I want to talk about functionalism today, another approach to psychology, and review some of the stuff that we went over on Friday. So, real quick, describe what structuralism is, detail how Wilhelm Wundt is considered the father of psychology, and what contributions he brought to the field of psychology. What were criticisms about his structuralist approach? So, if you want to, you can pause the video, write down your response, and I'm just going to go over it with you so you have a detailed explanation of what structuralism is. Was. So, structuralism is really just this idea, this approach where Wilhelm Wundt was trying to apply a structure to apply and principles to psychology. So he wanted to maybe create like a periodic table that people can analyze, that people can go to, and obviously look at when understanding the basics of psychology. Okay, the basics of the basic understanding of what psychology is and how the mind really works. Okay, so that's really what his whole goal was. And he's considered the father of psychology because he created this first psychological lab in Leipzig, Germany in the mid 1800s. And he wanted, again, try to analyze psychology as a social science, prove it, and to apply an understanding, expectations, principles to this social science, right? So with that came introspection. And introspection really is just this idea where we are consciously thinking and understanding what we're observing, what we're experiencing. So introspection is used heavily in this structuralist approach. And because it's in a laboratory setting, he constantly, let's just say, asks questions, right? He asks people what they see, what they feel, what they taste, what they touch, and in order to describe that stimulus. So with introspection, many people consider and critique his approach to psychology just because, well, everybody has their own viewpoint, right? Everybody feels and experiences things a little bit differently. And I know I gave an example the other day about our interests, our likes, whether it's taste of food, whether it's, sound of music, whatever it might be, not the movie Sound of Music, but whatever interests us. So with introspection, again, it's structuralism. Many people say it relies too much on introspection, and we need to move on just from the laboratory setting. All right, so that's the bell ringer for today. Real quick, I want to go to the vocab terms. So again, positive if need be. We already went over structuralism, Wilhelm Wundt, and introspection. So for today, it's William James and functionalism. So I will let you guys write that down. Okay. I'll let you guys, if you want to, you can pause it to write down that definition. So that's what we will be discussing today in this lesson. So real quick, let me go over this with you. So again, William James, this is the man we're going to talk about today. They consider him the father of psychology in America because he's really the first person to bring this social science, the study of the social science, and trying to develop an approach to psychology in the United States. So he wanted to try to understand the function of psychology. What kind of function does it have in our everyday life? And he critiqued Wilhelm Wundt because he said, well, we just can't focus on the laboratory setting. We need to focus and understand psychology and the understanding of the mind and our reaction to certain stimulus in our natural setting. So he's more focused on naturalistic observations and really understand how psychology functions in our life. Hence the name functionalism, right? Okay, so there's introspection. I just had a few examples. I'm not going to go over them with you right now. It's just what you think of. Well, what is this ball? Right? What do you think of it? Describe the figure. Same thing with the duck. I was just going to throw in my personal story about a duck. Maybe people like ducks. I don't know. But for me, when I was golfing one time, I had a goose chase after me. So I'm not real fond about ducks or geese, you name it. I just prefer to leave them be, not try to go out of my way to see them. All right, so functionalism, theory that emphasizes the functions of consciousness and the ways consciousness helps people adapt to their environment. So James wanted to try to apply this idea of functionalism to everyday life in a natural setting. So for the most part, he would observe people in their natural setting, let's say in a park, let's say at work, let's say, what they would maybe do for their leisure time. Okay. And he would analyze these people, he'd write these observations down. And before he published any results or any research, obviously he went up to that person and said, "Hey, I was performing a psychological study. I wanted to see how you reacted, some of your behaviors, your habits, and I made some observations off of it." And he would try to discuss that, obviously, with the people before he would publish any results. And it's ethical, right? We want to disclose that information before we make a study and these people find out it was actually them, and we don't want to. We obviously want to make sure that these people are protected in their habits, right? And the way they act in their natural setting. But anyway, William James, his basic critique with Wilhelm Wundt is that we need to step out of laboratory, right? We need to see how psychology actually functions in our everyday life, right? And we need to focus more on this naturalistic setting than actually understanding in the laboratory. Either way, both psychologists are famous for, obviously this laboratory setting, performing research and understanding how the mind works with introspection, with structuralism, Wilhelm Wundt. And then with William James, let's just focus more on the naturalistic setting. Let's see how people react in their everyday life under ordinary circumstances without any type of influences in their life. And here are just some parts of the functionalist view that he provides. So sensation, right? How we sense certain stimulus, whether we're eating something, we're hearing something, we're tasting, touching. Cognition, how we understand, let's say, information, how we learn from it. Reasoning, okay, how we try to make reason and understanding of the world around us. The unconscious mind, which I'll talk a little bit more about when we get to Freud, okay, how that plays a role in our behavior. Okay, memory, so how we understand certain stimulus, emotions, okay, how we can make connections to our memory. Consciousness, right, what we're understanding in our current state, right, how we are acting and how we are behaving in our current state of mind. Motor coordination, so walking, talking, maybe we are performing an activity. Right? So I wanted to make sure I went over that. Okay, here's one last slide. Again, that's why James, he wanted to make sure that he could branch off from this laboratory setting, understand people in their normal life, their everyday life. Okay, this observation that is done in a natural setting, naturalistic observation. All right. And again, he also described that for people, they acted with a stream of consciousness, that we are constantly focused on, with our memories, with our stimulus, that we're moving in a direction. We're not performing these mental processes. And we're not, like, let's say, just stopping, focusing, hesitating, and thinking about it. We're just constantly moving. We're constantly focusing on the next objective. We're trying to gather our memories at the same time to make our reaction, our decisions. And we're obviously using sensation, emotion to depict our behaviors. All right, and that's all I got for today. So make sure you guys have that bell ringer done. The vocab is presented to you. And again, hopefully we're back to normal tomorrow. See you guys later. No homework for tonight.